Origen, the church father who was silenced. Imagine one of the greatest minds of early Christianity being later branded a heretic, silenced, and pushed to the margins of history. His name was Origen of Alexandria, and the question is, was he silenced because he was wrong or because he was too daring? Origen lived in the 3rd century, a time when Christianity was still young, still defining its core beliefs. He was brilliant, tireless, and deeply committed to exploring the mysteries of God. He produced thousands of works, biblical commentaries, theological treatises, and philosophical reflections. Many of the church fathers we celebrate today were indebted to him. Yet centuries later, his teachings would be condemned and his name nearly erased. What got him into trouble? The pre-existence of souls. Origen taught that every soul existed with God before birth, and that life on earth was part of a spiritual journey. Universal restoration, or Apokatastasis. He dared to hope that God's love was so powerful that all beings, even the devil, might one day be reconciled and restored. The allegorical reading of Scripture. For Origen, the Bible's deepest truths weren't always on the surface. He believed that beneath the literal stories lay spiritual meanings pointing us toward transformation. This actually reminds me of the Hebrew principle of Pardes, a Hebrew theory for Bible exegesis. But sadly, Origen can not only be considered a church father, but also one of the fathers of so-called replacement theology, which assumes that God has broken his eternal covenant with the Jews, revoked his promises, and that the church has replaced them. The beginning of a long and sad chapter of Christian anti-Semitism. In Origen's own lifetime, his ideas were not seen as heresy, but centuries later, in the 6th century, when Christianity had become an empire-backed institution, these teachings were no longer welcome. A church now concerned with order, uniformity, and control declared his ideas dangerous. At the Second Council of Constantinople in 553, certain Origenist doctrines were anathematized. His name was dragged through the mud, and from that point on, the theological imagination of the church narrowed. How different might Christian thought be today if Origen's voice had remained central? So here's the challenge. How much of what we take for granted today is the result of the silencers winning? How much have we lost? Perhaps it's time to go back, not to repeat Origen's every idea, but to listen to a voice that history tried to silence.